Welcome into episode 27 already of JD's Empire Sports Talk. A lot going on this week. Like I said, it was going to be four episodes. This is three of four. Today we'll talk about the Knicks and Rangers as a whole, just to evaluate where they're at, especially coming down the home stretch here. Not many games left. A little in between the 10 to 20 range for both teams. And both teams are in the playoffs or in the playoff conversation, we could say, about the Rangers because depends on the day. They're either in or they're out. So we got to wait and see for that. But the Knicks are definitely firmly in. I just wanted to recap also what we did throughout the week. So the episode, of course, about the Jets is up. Same as March Madness, that is up as well. And you saw my little preview of two teams that can make some noise. You see San Diego and Yale. So hopefully that's the case, and I look right. I hope so. Also, me and Jet specialist Ryan Downey's Ryan's brackets will be up Thursday. We'll have little snapshots. We'll probably zoom in on every region and work our way around like that, just so it's easier for people to see. Because if I take a picture of the full thing, it won't work. It won't be as effective. And then later in the week as well, we'll have a Mets episode strictly just to talk about where they're at. I know they have some injuries that they're dealing with. Jeff McNeil, Showman is on the way back, but he's going to be out, so he won't be able to pitch throughout the first, probably the first couple turns around the rotation. And then Francisco Alvarez, of course, starting catcher, is out as well. So we'll talk about all that stuff at the end of the week. And then next week, I'm working on having CT probably Tuesday, Wednesday, right before opening day. Come in, talk about the state of the Yankees and the Mets. I want to hear his thoughts on the Mets from an outsider perspective, where these teams are at. We'll do some other, if anything Jets comes up, we'll do that. And the usual Knicks Rangers, we'll probably check in a little bit. Also, got to support St. John's. And we'll start with them quickly here today. There's not much to talk about because we did it yesterday, the other day, rather, about their first round matchup against Omaha. I did a little research on them. Should be a team that St. John's can handle pretty easily. Didn't play great competition. They could score a little bit. They have height, so I think that's something St. John's needs to just keep an eye out for. But St. John's they got everything you can ask for in a championship caliber team this year. So I'm not too worried. Honestly, I don't really think there's much else to talk about. They just need to go out there and take care of business, and they'll be okay. And then they'll move on to round of 32. But we'll stay with basketball here. Talk about the Knicks first, and then we'll wrap it up with the Rangers because I don't have much on the Rangers. I have a lot more on the Knicks today, and things I want to talk about. That had happened since the last time. It was about 10 days ago, give or take, from when we talked about the Knicks. And right now, they're 43 and 24 overall, so they're kind of at the same pace they were at last time we chatted about them. They have a great chance at winning the next four games as well, which I think they should be able to with no issue. They got the Spurs, who have no more Wemby, and the Aaron Fox is also hurt, so their best two players are out for the year, so they don't have to deal with them this game. Charlotte Hornets, another team struggling all year. They shouldn't have an issue with them, but we'll see what happens. Wizards, another team that is not great, but they can also give a team a run for their money. They should handle that. And the Mavericks to close out this next four games. They don't have Kyrie or Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is rehabbing, but I still don't think he'll be back in time. So this could be a very good chance for the Knicks to get to 47 and 24 and finish the year strong. They're stuck in that three seed right now. There's nothing really too much they can do because they're behind the Celtics 5.5 games, and they're above the Bucks Pacers combination and Pistons as well in that 5 to 6 game range, depending on uh, what team we want to talk about. But yeah. So they're stuck in that third seed range. They don't really can't do much. I think the most likely opponent would be the Pistons. Right now, they have the same amount of wins as the Pacers and the Bucks do, but they have two more losses. So that's very crucial at this time of the year. So a Knicks Pistons first round matchup is very, very likely. And the Knicks have not played good against them this year. So they need to figure out what has gone wrong against the Pistons and correct that because that would be a very disappointing ending to the season if they lose to them in the first round. So I would assume and put a lot of stock into them playing the Pistons in that first round, and then going from there will most likely be the Celtics in the second round, which would be, of course, very, very tough. But moving on, Brunson injury. Some before after we spoke, Brunson suffered a tough ankle injury. It was literally that night after I my video went out against the Lakers. They had that game. They had a shot at winning it, and Brunson got injured. His ankle very. He rolled it pretty badly, and suffering the consequences of that. He'll be out for another probably 3 weeks on top of what he's out over a week and a half already. So it was not a good ankle injury, and he'll be out. So the Knicks will try to got to just tough it out a little bit. I know Deuce McBride has played very well. I mean, he can't replace what Brunson has done. You can't replace your best player. You just got to be able to pick up the slack uh, by everyone contributing, and I think they're doing that to the best of their abilities. And Deuce McBride is playing really well in the point guard spot. Bridges has been more consistent, which I like. I think he needs to look for his shot more, and he's done that with Brunson out. But I hope he does that when Brunson comes back. Um, Seems like he's more confident, especially at the end of the games. They're going to him to handle the ball. I know Cat's the best player on paper right now, but he obviously can't really handle and create his own shot that way when time is running low. So I think Bridges, you saw against the Trailblazers, he took a nice game-winning shot and made it, drained it in overtime. They're on the West Coast. They were on the West Coast. They beat the Heat the other night, so it's good to see that they came back. They didn't start out good in the first quarter, but they responded and got the win. But they have to get through this part of the schedule and part of the year where Brunson is out, and then hopefully by playoff time, or even hopefully, best case, before the playoffs even starts, he's back. So they have that ability to let him get his feet under him again and be ready for the playoffs. You don't want him coming back with no game or live reps and then playing in the playoffs and he's not playing great. And I know there's some people out there that are saying that he's not going to fully recover from this injury. He'll probably take an entire offseason to do so. Hopefully that's not the case because they need him. And if they want to go deep, he's going to be a big part of that. Next thing I wanted to do, we'll skip around a little bit. I just wanted to give props to Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, of course, who's someone that, despite all the other turmoil that's going on that I will talk about next, that's happened in the last week, maybe 5 days really, of those other issues, he's kind of been the steady going force who's calmed everything down during games, um, even off the court as well. I know he was out last week against the Warriors because he had a family issue or it was a family death, one of those things I don't exactly remember. But then they played the Warriors Saturday night, and it seemed as Draymond Green poked the bear by saying Draymond was that Cat was afraid to face Jimmy Butler without him knowing the reason why Cat was actually out, and didn't seem like he cared that he insulted or didn't make people feel too great about that, and he continued it again. Uh, but Saturday night he was chirping him a lot. Cat lost the ball out of bounds or whatever. And he was like, "That's soft as hell" or something like that. So they were going after him pretty good. Jimmy Butler wasn't saying much, but you can tell he was getting under Cat's skin a little bit. But Cat wasn't letting it fluster his game. He played great. I know they didn't win the game, but he was um, had them on their back in the fourth quarter. I know he scored like 11 or 12 points straight on his own at one point. That's good to see that that he's keeping the team together without their true captain Brunson. He's stepping up in a leadership role, which they need, and hopefully they can keep winning games as well. And he's putting up big performances. But those two issues I wanted to talk about and address. The first one was Mikal Bridges, who made comments to the media about starters playing time. He said it in a way where he was talking about himself, but you could definitely see or how he's referring to the rest of the starting five. Um, and maybe that contributed to Brunson's injury, but I don't really get that because it's an ankle injury. You can't really prevent ankle injuries; they kind of just happen. But Bridges went to the media and spoke to them and was saying that it's a lot on the body and maybe they can cut down starters' minutes. But I want to take this a few different ways because Bridges, I understand where he's coming from. He said that he talked with Tibbs about it, and then Tibbs said he didn't talk about it, and then after the fact, he said they addressed it after. But we all know it was probably before that, and Tibbs just didn't want to talk about it. So that can cause an issue between player and coach, and just them two alone. and then it could be a locker room issue now of Tibbs not sticking up for his guys, but it's also like you're getting attacked in a certain way. You're not going to want to defend that. So I think Bridges is wrong for how he conducted himself in this situation. I understand the point. I understand the point of saying, yes, the starters are playing too much. But also, if you look at it, the starters aren't playing as much as they did in the beginning of the year. So the starters' minutes are going down. 35, 36 minutes a night is what starters usually play. And that's what Bridges has been at. So I don't know where that came from. And also, he used the narrative of, the bench has earned their keep and they could play a little more. I think the bench is worth it, putting them in for those minutes. I understand that as well, but you can't go that angle. You can't do that. You cannot do that, and I think that I'm glad it got kind of swept under the rug pretty quickly, but hopefully that doesn't become an issue anymore. And they gave up a lot for Bridges, so he kind of doesn't want to. You can't spoil the relationship with Tibbs in year one when you have three more years plus a possible contract extension. They gave up five first-round picks, so they're not getting rid of you easily. And I highly doubt they would get rid of Tibbs because of how good he's been with the Knicks 4 out of 5 years. Obviously, this year they make the postseason 4 out of 5 years in the postseason, 3 years in a row. He's won Coach of the Year. He's a very good coach. Got into the postseason, like I just said, a ton. They've had a little bit of success. They're looking to get to that next level and then a level after that, but um, that's got to be fixed quickly. The next point was staying with the beef, you could call it, or whatever you want to say. Uh, but Josh Hart and Tibbs against the Warriors, they were drawing it out during a timeout. We're not still don't know what it was about. It was never really brought up. Tibbs said he loves Josh, and Josh Hart said the same about Tibbs. But that argument was animated. I think there's could have been something to that. I know I don't want to look too much and speculate, but someone that likes to talk and come on here and make podcasts, you got to be able to understand it from both lenses. As a player, like I've been in a situation like that where you can get a little testy, and maybe you didn't like something that coach said, and you're in the battle of the the game, and any little thing like that will set you off quickly. But also, it could have been something that boiled over. Maybe it had something to do with Bridges. We don't know. Maybe it was just Tibbs calling him out in front of people, and Hart didn't like that. But that back and forth went on for a little bit before anyone stepped in. So that I could take it this way of saying everyone around them knew that they have that type of relationship where they can butt heads like that and they'll be okay. But then it got to a certain point that maybe they thought it would stop, and that's when Rick Brunson, of course, Jalen's dad, the coach, stepped in, and Shamit kind of was like, "All right, you guys got to chill out." They pulled Hart away for a little bit, and the rest of the game, you could tell Josh Hart was not the same as he usually is. That affected him a little bit, but in the post game, they didn't really get into it much. It was just like they love each other and they're all good, which I'm sure that's the truth. But we'd still love to know what transpired there because that was a testy argument, and I think it's something to keep an eye on and to see is Tibbs losing the team a little bit. Brunson not around, two of his best friends making comments or having an issue within like 3, 4 days of each other. I said five before. I think it was actually three. So we gotta watch out for that, and we'll see what happens. I mean, this year, obviously, the rest of this year they won't do anything, but never know. Early postseason exit, Tibbs could get a sneaky fire and can be on the hot seat. So we gotta watch out for that. Another guy, excuse me, another guy that they brought in that I like, but he won't. He probably won't play just because the nature of the where they're at in the season and all that. But PJ Tucker signing with the Knicks, I think brings a little edge to them that they didn't have. That they're a little soft, but I think PJ Tucker does that. He was on a 10-day contract. There still is. I'm sure he'll get another one in the coming when you're able to do it in the coming days, and then maybe be on the team roster for the rest of the year. But we'll see. But I like his presence being there as long as he's not an issue in the locker room, which I don't think will be a problem. To other teams, yeah, go ahead, chirp from the bench, whatever you want to do, because he's not going to play. He can do all that. Get these guys in the right frame of mind. I know it seems like since he's got here, OG Anunoby has a little edge to him, which he needed that. That's exactly what he needed. And I think that PJ Tucker is getting that out of him, which I like. And he's a veteran. It can be that kind of player, coach, mentor type of thing. So I like that a lot. Um, Nothing really much I had else on that one. I just like that the what they did with that. Quickly with the Rangers before we sign off here. I just want to talk about quickly. Haven't played great recently. They're kind of winning one, losing two, winning two, losing three type of thing. So they gotta figure that one out. And then they're in the playoff mix. Depends on the day. Like I said, they're in it, and then they're not in it. They're in it, then they're not in it. Not much else to that. Panarin having a good year. Got to say that. Rest of the team pretty average. You can't really put anything else into that. No one else has more than 50 points besides Panarin, and that's not good. They don't have many games left, so hopefully they can pick it up, make the playoffs. I know JT Miller has 18 points in 18 games as a Rangers. That's like one a game. That's very good, but they got to figure it out. And despite them not playing great all year, and I've been disappointed, not gonna lie, I've been very, very disappointed. They're still very much in it, and we gotta hope they make it. So we have that nice month of late April into May, and hopefully June for both teams, where we see them playing every other night, and that's something that's been great the last 2 years. Oh, Knicks aren't playing tonight, Rangers are, another way around. So that's good to see. But we're gonna wrap episode 27 up here. Quickly, I just wanted to thank everyone for supporting us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Instagram and TikTok are doing well. Just want to get, like I mentioned every time, get the views up on YouTube. Sit down and just enjoy. I don't know, maybe you're doing something where you want to relax and you got 20 to 30 minutes to spare. Go on there and watch our full episode. Because I know I like to try to put one best clip from the episode on Instagram and TikTok, but there's a lot more to it and a lot of knowledge. Uh, that I hope to pass to everyone. So I want to thank everyone for supporting. And like I said, later in the week, we'll have a Mets episode. Next week, we'll try to get CT back. And also, we'll have another episode about something, probably March Madness update. Check in on the brackets or something. But with that being said, I just want to thank everyone for watching episode 27 and JD Empire Sports Talk as a whole. JD out.